Hello. We are on. Welcome back to M-A.D Ting live on Threads Radio. My name is Mark Ashley Dupé. And over the last it's been Pride Month. So over the last few weeks, I've been doing a series of specials highlighting marginalised communities within my own LGBT community. So we started off week one talking to the black queer scene. A couple of weeks ago, we then spoke to the non-binary community and had a little catch-up with them and the gender fuck girls. And today, I'm joined in the studio by 3 members of the trans community. So, to my left, on the sofa, first up, she's always... Yeah, I think it's on. You're on. Is Lily St. Jerry, who you most probably see me kicking around with, and she's also hosted It's M-A.D Ting before on my previous station that I was on.
I did. It was amazing.
It was really fun.
I got really drunk.
We did get really drunk. We might get a bit more tipsy today.
Let's do it.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. On the sofa beside Lili, she's driven all the way down from Bristol for this, so let's make some noise. That's dedication. Is Miss Brandy X?
Hi. Happy to be here.
How are you?
I'm very good.
Yeah.
Ready to get the party started.
Let's get the party started.
Taken care of. Let's go.
And then to my right, we have Rap Queen. Bad B, Miss Diana Donna. Hi. Everyone say hello to the cameras. You can tune in and watch this live on Mixcloud if you head over to Threads. Is it Threads Radio on Mixcloud? I think that. Mixcloud.com/live/Threads Radio. There you go.
The link in bio for Threads.
Right, there you go. Link in bio. So, girls, how have you all been? Let's start with you, Lili. How have you been? What's been going on?
Been really, really good.
Yeah? How has your Pride Month been?
It was good. It was good. It was quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a different type of Pride Month this year due to COVID.
It's been a very odd Pride Month, but it seems like everyone's just more together.
Yeah.
You know, like when we went to the Trans Pride march and all that, I've never felt so like at ease, and the energy and aura of everyone was just incredible. That was like the best Pride I've ever been to.
Amazing.
And I've been going to Pride since I was 16.
Right.
And I was like, this is the best one ever.
But I feel like I wasn't able to attend the march on Saturday, but from what I've heard, it actually felt for the first time more like a protest than even
exactly
the normal type of Pride celebrations. Like people were going there to talk the things and to kind of like get off their chest what they needed to get off. And people were there more to like learn and listen and be part of a movement rather than, well, I'm sure there were people that were there to party too, but more so.
I think the march was the most important part.
And I think that's what a lot of the LGBT community forget sometimes, is that Pride isn't just about it being a party.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, like, know your LGBT history.
Exactly.
And
like,
why we're doing what we're doing.
Trans rights are human rights, you know.
Trans rights are human rights. Well, we're going to be unpacking all of that today. Brandy, did you manage to make it down to the...
Oh, baby, of course. What kind of question is that? Excuse me.
Okay. How was it for you?
It was actually really amazing. I was really happy to see how the community came together, and I was actually quite surprised to see the amount of people that came to support the community. Transgender people, queer people, and allies as well. So, I mean, I work nightlife and I quite consistently, and I was surprised to see how many people I did not know. I was thinking I was going to see all my friends and just all these familiar faces, but no, there is such a huge community that doesn't even go out at night. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully having a way to connect with these people, because there's beautiful people that I've never even met, and I was just taken back, and just it revived my hope for humanity.
I did hear that a lot from what people were saying, that there was like a whole wave of people that they hadn't met, and what was really refreshing was that for the first time they got to communicate and talk with new people, new energies, new bodies, and it's liberating to know that sometimes there's allies that you're not even aware of
Yes, and I was just actually I've never been more proud to be a transgender woman in this very moment right now at this time. I think that we've been through so much and so much darkness that it's nice to see the people coming together, and there's a sense of community, a sense of hope, because with everything that's been going on, you know, we have to have hope. We have to look forward to better days because
Absolutely.
you know, it's that's the tea.
Diana. Diana. Is Diana's mic up, please? It sounds very quiet.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely up. That's just your soft voice. How was?
My soft voice.
How? Yeah, actually keep it there.
Okay.
How was? Did you attend the march?
Funny thing is, I actually work in Upper Street, so on that day I actually was working, but I managed to kind of have my break in the lunchtime because it started like at
Okay,
4.
yeah.
So I did come out and like joined in, but yes, again, same thing. Very surprised in terms of how many people actually were there. But yeah, very proud, very proud.
So over the last few years, trans awareness has become like bigger and larger than what it's ever been before. I feel like we're talking a lot more. The representation is higher. Why do you feel that's happened in the last few years and especially in the last year?
Well, basically Instagram, social media. I think that social media and you know, has connected people in a way that we never thought possible. And it's funny that you talk about trans awareness because this is something new to the world. You know, this is something that has never really been seen, never really been spoken about. I've been transitioning for almost 14 years now. And back in my days, you transitioned to be a woman and you didn't know, the transgender was not even a term. You were a transsexual, you were a TSTV, and we've come such a long way. And again, I think it's because of people like Laverne Cox, Janet Mock, and people that have just lived in their truth authentically and unapologetically in a time that we weren't supposed to, because it was a thing of survival to really just either not go out at night or to be discovered or be stealth.
I feel like obviously the community's always been here. There's always been trans women. However, maybe like even up to like 5 years ago, the trans community was still almost mocked, or you was it was.
Well, it still is.
Still is.
Yeah.
I feel like definitely right in terms of like social media plays a big part in terms of education. Just the whole education within the community itself as well. Just having young trans people growing up, having something to see, having something to actually learn about, know about their own history. We didn't really get that when we first transitioned in a way.
No, I think that's absolutely. I think growing up, obviously, the T word used to be used.
Yeah. Well, we can say it. It's fine. No, you can't say it. We can say it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And obviously there was. I'm going to say the name of the club.
Yeah.
So there was Tranny Shack.
Yeah.
And that word.
It was a really good club.
No, do you know? I used to love that club.
It
but
really
up
was
until
good.
up until like 5 years ago, that word used to be hashtagged.
Yeah.
You used to, oh, shut up, you silly.
Yeah,
like, do you get what I mean? And it was kind of thrown.
RuPaul had his thing where it was like you got she-mail. Like,
She-mail.
it was a thing. It really was just a normal thing to say.
Was language changing an important part in taking steps to kind of gaining more respect?
Like
and
the betterment of trans yeah, definitely. I think once you take control of the story and the narrative, then if we want to be respected, we have to then take that and say, no, this is wrong. You can't say that. You can't demean us. Don't demean us. We're more than what you're saying. We're not just freaks or whatever.
Yeah.
So for us to take that away from them, that changed the whole journey of like what's happening in the media now. Like you can't say things like that anymore.
Well, language has changed across the board.
Exactly.
But especially when it comes to labels and how we describe each other within the LGBT community.
Yeah.
I feel like it's taken leaps and bounds.
In such a short time.
Do you feel sometimes that the gay community were partly responsible for the language used or how the trans community were seen as?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. we're not going to get into like, you know, all of that mess. But we know that a lot of gay men don't actually like trans women, and I've seen it firsthand.
Do you think that it's that they don't like trans women, or that they just don't respect trans women?
I think both.
Okay.
Honestly, I think both.
Or they don't understand.
Or
they don't understand.
Or they don't want to understand it, you know? They don't want us to be in the community. They don't think it makes sense to them.
Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah, I think definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh.
No. I'm just here to ask questions. Go on.
I think partially some might feel that way, and some, in a way, they might feel embarrassed. Even I would say, even some of them would come across as they feel embarrassed to be socialized with us. But at the same time, there is obviously a max amount of, you know, queer gay community who actually embraces, because see us as the front of being, you know, powerful.
Absolutely.
Because this whole movement being even transitioning is not easy, you know,
at all.
And I feel like that's where sometimes within our own community we like gay men and lesbian women, we forget that we've had to fight out of our own box to get to where we are. So that same thought process should always be kept for the trans community as well, because
we're also going through the same struggle.
It's a different struggle.
Exactly. We're still in a struggle. We're still going against the norm. We're going against what society deems as, you know, acceptable. We literally are risking our lives every day to be who we are. And it's scary sometimes when...
It must be scary. It must be scary all the time, to be honest.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh, it is. Like, I went out last night, obviously. And I was just walking to the shop and the guy was like, oh, she's really hot. And then one of his friends goes, that's a man. Like, just out of the... And it doesn't matter how far you are in your transition. It doesn't matter how far along you are. Just that can ruin someone's whole day, whole
week.
year, you know? It's just little things like that.
Ignorance, and language,
I've got to a place where it does not affect me. Like, it does, like, it's weird, it doesn't affect me. But I don't know if it's a good thing, almost, that it doesn't affect me, because it should, you know?
Yeah.
It should... it's not for me to tell you what should affect you and what shouldn't.
I know.
But I feel like it's good that you can be thicker skinned to it, because then you might end up being in a bad place all the time. And you're meant to be faced with some type of ignorance, even without realizing it every single day.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about your transitioning stories?
No, I don't mind.
Yeah? So how old were you when you started to realize that?
When I was 3.
Okay, so you've known...
Yeah, when I was 3, I literally said to my mom, I want to go to the doctor and I want to take it off. I want to take it off. Yeah, I was 3 and my mom was like...
So what year? Hold on, how old are you? Yeah, okay. Never ask a woman her age.
Don't you dare. That's rude. I'm 20. I'm actually 28. It's fine. I don't care.
No, so we're talking like the early 90s here then, yeah?
I was born in 1992.
Yeah. So that wasn't even a thing that would have been...
It's never...
You would never have been exposed to that.
Never.
For you to even know that you want to go to the doctor.
I just knew I was born in the wrong body. At 3 years old, your mind's not even really developed. You're just starting to know what you like. And I was obsessed with Barbie. Obsessed. Like, I wanted to be Barbie. And my mom would buy me Barbies and my dad would buy me all things girly. And then I was just like, I just want to be a girl. And that's 3 years old. So when people say it's a choice, it's not a choice.
Well, this is what I wanted to say, because for starters, all 3 of you have completely different stories, transitioning stories, and you come from 3 different cultures.
Yes.
So I really want to hear how it's different for each 3 of you. But also, obviously, growing up or being part of the queer community or the LGBT community, we're constantly told that it's a sickness or it's a phase.
It's a mental illness.
It's a mental illness. That's not the case.
It's not the case at all.
Like, you would not have been exposed to anything. Why? It would have been a phase or something you had been exposed to.
Yeah.
It was innate.
Exactly. And also, I was born in South Africa, in Cape Town, and this is when the apartheid was still on until 1995. My parents grew up in all of that.
Right.
You know, so they weren't exposed to things like that.
So your parents are fighting their blackness already.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they know about gay men and maybe lesbians, but they don't know about trans women. My mom didn't know, but she accepted me. She never made me feel like I was weird. Never made me took me to church. And I've heard such horror stories of kids, and it breaks my heart when it's like they're deemed as like these devil children or something. It's like, just love your child. Like, you don't understand what that can do to that child's psyche. Like, it's scary. It affects them.
Like,
when they get to 16, you don't know what that child's going to end up doing, you know? Or even when they're going through puberty. My puberty was horrible. You're seeing a change that you don't want to see, you know?
How old were you when you decided to take the steps to physically start?
16, 17. Yeah.
So by then you would have started.
Well, I started puberty at 14.
Okay.
And I just was like, I can't do this. Like, just seeing your body look like that, and you're like, oh my God, this is too much. Scary.
Hormone blockers, were they a thing that were?
No.
They weren't.
Something's called contraceptives. Your friends give them to you because the Thai girls, it's like a thing that they do. And the Thai girls take contraceptives. So I was like, I'm going to do that. So I asked all my friends.
What?
Yeah, the contraceptive pill.
Like the pill?
Yeah, because there's estrogen in the pill. Do not do
Very
what
dangerous.
I'm doing. Do not do
what you did.
what I did, okay?
No, but this
whoever's listening and you're a young trans girl, do not do it.
No, and this is exactly why we need to have these types of conversations, because a lot of the time, due to governments and lack of education and situations where people don't have access to the correct medication that they need or advice, you will be forced into taking
black market hormones. And as something's happened to one of my close friends recently, I won't get into all the aspects or whatever, but literally, because we're in a certain borough, the GP has not allowed her to get her
Well,
hormones,
actually, I said to Maya that I want to dedicate this show today to Maya, just because Maya was supposed to be on the panel with us today, but due to the Tory government that we have and their basic hatred
towards
the trans community, Maya's been put in a situation today where she's got some bad news and she hasn't been able to join us on the panel, and
which
I feel
is totally understandable.
Yeah, and it's totally understandable. But yet again, it's a reason why I wanted to put on this show today, because there's a lot of people in the world that I love and care for, or who I've grown up around, who are going through stuff right now that just isn't right and they shouldn't be dealing with, in the UK, especially in 2021, when we're meant to be such a progressive society. So it's just so sad on a day when we were meant to be kind of uplifting the trans community. She's at home feeling the way that she does because our government can't get their shit together. So Maya, if you are tuned in right now, we're thinking of you, and this show is for you.
We love you, Maya.
We love you. Brandy.
Yes. What did I do?
So where were you born?
Born and raised in a small little village on the west coast of the Americas. It's called Los Angeles. I don't know if you've heard of it.
That was such a good
LA for short.
I think I've heard of it. And what was it like for you becoming, like, transitioning and realizing that you were born into the wrong body?
Well, I think similar to you, I knew as a child, it was like an instinct of mine. It just happened naturally. And it wasn't just because I like Barbies, because I think there's a difference between just liking Barbies and actually being a woman. A lot of gay guys like Barbies as well. That doesn't necessarily make them trans. But I think that when you love Barbie, that's a whole different story. When you want to be Barbie, exactly. And so yeah, I mean, and it's just something that you knew, even like something so personal as like your private parts, and you being a child and not really being aware of what it is, and just knowing that it's not right. You know, I felt a lot of similar feelings, and just growing up knowing that something was not right, and like you said earlier about not even having the exposure of trans women, or even the possibility of that being possible. At that time, it was just not seen, not talked about. It's a taboo. It was like just seen as a fetish, and so I just knew.
That's one of the parts that I think really, it's for such a long time, all you women were seen as sex objects for straight men. Huh?
Still.
Still?
Yes.
Yeah?
Very much.
Yes, and you know, like you said, like I mean, which is why it is so important that we do have public figures that we can look up to and role models, because when you're a child, you're just confused. You don't know where you stand, and it's something that I think a lot of the people from the LGBTQ plus community battle with is their identity. For so long, we're told that who we are is not okay, that we are not even able to find ourselves. We're not able to grow as people because we're so just trying to be accepted and trying to be someone that we're not, so we can be accepted. And then you find out that that validation that you're seeking is not the type of validation you should be seeking, because those people should not matter to you. You need to really be yourself and love yourself first in order for you to be able to have any chance in the world. So we're so consumed with trying to be accepted and that we can't even find ourselves. By the time we become adults and we finally accept the reality that is who we are, it's already like we're already 20 years behind. So it's unfortunate. It's like that's when our life begins, and that's when our search for our identity begins. And it's just unfair, which is why when people say, oh, well, some kids are too young to be exposed to that, no, they're not, because we know who we are from the beginning, and we're suppressed for so long that we can't even carry on and do what we do. We can contribute so much more than we already do, but we're having to do things like this where activism is so important, because we're just still trying to be seen as people. That we forget about what we can contribute, forget about who we are, forget about like our uniqueness. It's all about our gender, who we identify as, who we have sex with, and it's just like a distraction that is so toxic to our community. And it's sad that we still have to be talking about this, you know. And I've transitioned almost 14 years ago now, and at that time it was just like you didn't even see trans people. They weren't even a thing, like, you know. And in the media, in society,
well, I was
out in
say
the open.
You, growing up, who was somebody then, Brandy, that you knew? So again, there was literally no trans women on television.
But let me tell you, no, there was no trans women. But let me tell you, like, RuPaul was something very special, because like if it wasn't for RuPaul, then I wouldn't have like ever been exposed to a queer person. And I think that regardless if she's drag, regardless of whatever it is that she has, I'm like way before Drag Race. I'm not even talking about Drag Race. I'm
like
talking about
90s
RuPaul. Yes,
RuPaul
when she started
Charles.
it, like the club, exactly.
Yeah.
So the RuPaul show, I remember being a kid and just watching her kiss someone else for the first time, Dennis Rodman, and not even thinking that it was like a homophobic experience or a queer experience, just knowing that it just resonated with me and it felt right. So that was the only queer artist. So thank you, RuPaul. You know, and I want to. With that being said, all drag is valid, and I just feel like
Well, you know, that's one of my subject points, because I do want to talk about, obviously, the whole controversy around RuPaul once upon a time not wanting to accept trans women on the competition. He's now obviously changed that, but we'll come back to that note in a bit. Diana.
Yes.
Where were you born?
I was born in Vietnam.
Okay.
I'm actually half Vietnamese, half Chinese. I don't know my real dad, so I don't know what else this makes in there, but you know, let's. But yeah, like similar experience, I would say, to Lily and Bob. Like I would say when I was really young, like 3 years old as well. The difference between me is I was brought up in a very Catholic household, and my mom is like very religious in a way. So I grew up knowing, oh, I need to hide everything.
Okay.
till I was like 18 even. But I was even sent away to China to study for 3 years just because my mom think it's just a phase. Like it will change one day.
Oh, so
and
did
yeah,
she knew?
she knew. My grandma didn't. My whole family knew because I talk about it when I was 3 years old. Like they all knew.
Did you speak about wanting to be a girl, or did they just think that you were effeminate?
I think my mom knew all the way, but she also didn't want me to go through that lifestyle.
Okay.
In her head, at the time, it wasn't really a space for us. It wasn't a really right time for us.
Okay.
It was even more dangerous than how it is now. Or I didn't even have anybody in terms of who I looked up to because very Asian background as well. My only thing I was thinking about is Thai, beautiful lady boy. That's what you call.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where I didn't even know hormones exist. I was kind of like, oh, they must born like that. Wow, like impressive sort of thing. I wish sort of thing. You know what I mean? Never knew anything until like slowly kind of educate myself as well because I didn't really have the queer
exposure, culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have it until I kind of moved here.
How old were you when you moved here then?
20.
Okay.
20. Like 20 years old and experienced like the queer culture in UK as well, in London. Kind of like slowly build up my confidence a lot more. But yeah, I didn't really have that. So that would be something that we'll talk about. Not everybody had that experience. I didn't. I really didn't. And I'm happy I'm here now and just want to have fun. Just want to live my life.
How soon after moving to the UK then, or did you begin your transition?
I would say 2 years.
Okay.
Just I was like, okay, let me finish uni. I couldn't wait, and I just like, I have to move to central London and just be me.
Yeah.
And I did, and obviously my parents love me now. They always knew.
It was just the step to get there.
They just didn't want me to go through this lifestyle because they know it's going to be hard for me to fight for everything. Women's right, trans right, being Asian, being seen as a sexual being just because I'm Asian to begin with. Before anything even else. Oh my gosh. Yes, just to begin with. I'm already a fetish on top of being a fetish. So, but I'm here. I'm surviving.
And we love that. I'm going to, was there any points before you began to transition where you confused your... Did you ever think that you were gay men?
Why are you looking at me?
No, I'm just asking. No, do you get what I mean? Before...
I'm kidding. Why are you looking at me? No, well, actually, funny that you say that because I've lived about 5 different lives. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, it took me personally so long to be able to even just accept who I am and be able to like walk those shoes because I knew I just didn't know. I knew something wasn't right, but like many, we have to carry on and go along with the story, please our parents. So yeah, I thought I was, I tried to live a life that I was just not fooling anybody, to be honest. And as soon as I accepted myself and I started to transition and obviously the first step back then we didn't have non-binary or gender non-conforming, so it was kind of like you had that little that androgynous
do you feel like you have to pick?
I'm sorry.
Do you feel like you have to pick in a way?
Yes. Well, I just didn't know. I didn't at that time know because it's like you were just living. You didn't really try to I wasn't planning on anything. I was just like going along with the ride, because there was no guide to transitioning. There was no support system or any type of resources available to be able to help you. It was just not possible. So, and yes, you just kind of winged it.
You say that. Huh?
Right. Yeah. So, it was one of those things where, so yes, to answer your question, yes. Okay.
Lili?
But then, I'm sorry, but before you go there, before we move on, so I thought that I was, but then I realized that I wasn't a guy wanting to be with a guy. I was like a woman wanting to be with a man, and not just any man, and I hate to say this, a heterosexual man or a man that sees me as the female that I am, because not everyone does. So I think that's important to say as well, that, the men that do like us and admire us are, for the most part, heterosexual men, and it's just like it's yeah. That's a whole nother story though. But
no, and we'll actually touch on that because I think that's quite important part as well of understanding the trans community because we'll get back to that. Lili, we'll put a pin in that and come back.
I think I just went through a phase of being androgynous for like a few years, even though I was taking contraceptives and stuff. I just needed to. I took my time doing it. Do you know what I mean? And there was no information out there. There was nothing. And I'm talking like 2012. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. It was less than 10 years ago.
I'm talking literally 2012, 2013. And there was nothing. And you just have to, I just winged it. Like, honestly, I winged it. I just knew I had to do it. And I just had to find a way. You know, and I would talk to the girls in America because I had no one really here to talk to. Like when I just started really transitioning, that's how me and Monroe got close.
Okay.
That's how, but before that, I had no one here. It was really like, yeah. I mean, I had Diana. We used to live together.
I didn't have anyone until I had her.
We used
So
to,
you two are like, you two are sisters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to help each other with
I used to come and ask
hormones.
her, what is this? What to do?
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Funny that you say that because I think that the trans community has not been visible in London because I've been coming here since 2012 and it was really hard to find girls that were like us because they didn't exist or they didn't come out or there wasn't any type of support system for us because in America there was at least a lot more like nightclubs, like girlfriends and like there's just such a beautiful trans community out there that I think was lacking here in the UK because I've been coming here for years.
I do want to like continue with that conversation in the sense where there is a lot of trans people, but you're right about they're not coming out. Like there is a lot of trans people that I know of kind of feel afraid to say that they're trans
or just acknowledge and be proud of it.
100%, yeah.
You know, a lot of trans girls are not ready to just go, I'm visibly
Proud
trans.
Do you feel then that you should say that you're a trans woman?
I don't think anyone has to do anything. I think if you want to be visible, you can. I was literally talking about this last night with one of my friends, and they're like, if you really wanted to, you don't actually have to say it. You know that. You could literally live south. And I'm like, yeah, but when I did do that, I was not happy.
Okay.
I felt like I had a secret and I didn't like that, you know? And I just felt there must be loads of other girls like me that are so scared to just be who they are and not feel weird about that is something so beautiful, honestly. Like, we're literally butterflies. Like, I literally feel like trans women are butterflies. Like, we're caterpillars and then we grow into something so extraordinary and so beautiful and we blossom.
I love that analogy.
You know? And I literally feel like the more I talk about my transness, I just feel so much better about it. It's not a stigma at all.
But it shouldn't be a stigma.
And it shouldn't be a stigma.
I feel like the more we speak about it openly, unapologetically, the easier the conversation will come for people that are outside of the community.
Exactly.
If we continue to hide away these things that make us special, then people are going to feel like there's a reason why we should be, why we keep it secret.
Why we should be hidden away, you know?
When it comes to being in a relationship with straight men, then right, so you know what, yeah. let's do that part of the conversation. So you were saying,
wait, I need a drink. Hold on.
Do you know what? In fact,
hold up. Wait a minute.
Can we get to a quick musical break?
Yeah.
We'll reset the room
because it's about to get real in here.
Yeah.
You need to get a producer.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna go to a quick break, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes after we've
See you later.
watered our mouths. And welcome back to Fred's Radio. This is It's M-A.D Ting, and my name is Mark Ashley Dupé. And I'm joined in the den today by Lili St. Jerry, Brandy X, and Diana Donna. And in spirit with us is our girl Maya, who's tuned in. Hope you're enjoying the show and we miss you.
Love you.
Love ya.
You sexy
So,
bitch.
before the break, we kind of gave an introduction into the world that you live in. And it's a difficult one. But I want to, well, we're still going to unpack a lot of things. But first of all, I want some positive things of what you've experienced along your journey. Pick up the...
Oh, that sounds like Britney.
Free Britney.
Free Britney.
Now.
Hashtag free Britney.
No.
What's something that you're grateful for right now or you feel positive about?
The changes that are happening. Like I said earlier, with the pride that happened, the trans pride, I saw the future. All different types of trans and non-binary people, and it wasn't this toxic version of what a woman or a man should be. It was a real version of like what the future is going to look like. And honestly, it warmed my heart. Like it really did. And I also saw a little girl there, and she was with her mom, and she must have been like 6, you know, and she's in the park, and her mom's there, and I'm like, I just said to her, I started tearing up because I was like, that was my mom, and I was like, you're doing an amazing job as a mother. I hope you know that. For you, I'm going to tear up now, but for you to do that and make your child see that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be who you are. And it's okay to accept people. Even if you are just a straight ally, a straight cis ally, it's okay. You can accept people and let them be who they are. And to see that, a mother and daughter, like literally I was going to cry. I was like, girl, I gotta go. My makeup's going to run, honey.
Brandy, what are you feeling, positive or...
Well, actually, I've been in a relationship, of course, for 9 years.
Love that. Wow. That's a marriage.
Well, I'm actually married. Almost 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it is possible. It will happen. And just like everyone else, it's shit. No, I'm kidding. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No. You know, I've been married for almost 5 years now, and my husband is the reason why I'm here. So, of course, I love him. He's great.
The reason why you're here in the UK?
In the UK.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
We need to thank him.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, hubby.
Thank you. So yes, I'm just a few months away from you guys being able to claim me as one of yours.
Oh my God! You're gonna be a British citizen?
And then I'm filing for divorce right after. In true marital form, you know, if you getting married, baby, you're getting the divorce. Okay, no, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love him. I love him.
Tuned
He's
in?
amazing. Yes, he should be. I hope
should
not.
be.
No, he should be. But yes, yeah, no. So I mean, I think that now, actually not now. We've always, as trans women, have a big power, and some of us just don't know it. Others do, or some don't know how to use it. But you know what? Like, we are women, and we just like women. We have we are strong, and we are amazing, and men love us. And honey, there is a long line waiting. So just know your power, know who you are. You know, be that bitch that you were meant to be, that you're meant to be, because you all are. And you know, guys, you need to step it up and love us publicly and unapologetically, and really kind of, you know, normalize loving trans women publicly and marrying them as well. It's just, and they know they want to, but they're scared, and it's not. But that's where that's how
society,
and that's why we are so strong as women, because we can still do that. The men aren't strong enough to come out. They're not strong enough to love us the way that we deserve to be loved, and we know that, and that is fine.
Strong.
But it's not okay to just see us as a fetish, because we are so much more than just that. We are human beings, and I think that slowly but surely things are changing, but it's up to us as well as trans women to know our power and to not allow these men
know
to
your
treat
work,
us
yeah.
like nothing less than queens.
Boom.
Period.
Period. Period.
Diana,
Yes.
what are you feeling grateful, or what's something positive that you feel you've...
The main thing I would say definitely how comfortably the youth trans people can go through now. Hopefully this will be more in education and more people will know more about this, and
Yeah.
it would just be an open conversation. Like, I don't mind to have an open conversation what we're doing right now. So talk about it. We can talk about it. You can ask this question. Let's go. We'll answer you.
And do you know what? This is what's really important. I felt growing up as a young...
Having a voice. Yeah.
Growing up as a young gay black man, boy, I couldn't turn on the television or the radio or open a magazine or go on the internet and see anybody that looked like me who was going through what I was starting the beginning of my journey. So there was no elders. So I felt like it's been really important for me as an adult to make sure that there's a platform for all marginalised communities. Like, do you get what I mean? And I feel like right now what you're doing is so important, like having these open conversations which are deemed maybe still as taboo, or people still look at you as aliens. Like, do you get what I mean? That now a young boy or young girl can tune into a program like this and just be educated and realize that they're not alone. They're not alone. And like, I think that's what's great about 2021 as well. As much as there's still a really long way to go, I feel like there's a lot of technology now and there's a lot of platforms where if you grab the moment, you can do so much for somebody in 5-10 years to come.
I also have noticed even with younger guys, like if I'm on shoots and stuff and I meet young guys, they're so, it's not a shock to them, and it's crazy. They'll be like 21, 22, and I'm like,
they're a lot more woke, I feel like.
but when I was growing up, that even the guys I know now that are a little bit older than me, they still don't understand it. But I've never had to explain my trans experience to the younger guys. Because they just get it.
They get it.
Do you know how weird that is?
Do you know what? Let's talk
Like,
about...
we're in the middle of it. It's really weird.
Let's talk about straight cis men. No, because... straight cis...
Which one?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
If you're tuned in...
Hi.
Straight cis men who... In my opinion, straight cis men have always... It's not that they've not been aware of trans women.
Oh, honey, no.
If
They
anything,
love it.
they love trans women.
Love it.
It was more based down to, do you know, like within their own culture or society, the stigma or the shame that comes with being attracted to a trans woman. Because then, as soon as they go on a lad's holiday to somewhere like Thailand, which you mentioned earlier, then there's obviously a huge tradition of, especially English men,
Oh, yes.
going to Thailand to sleep with trans women. So why is it okay in Thailand, but it's not okay, or it wasn't okay home in London?
Because everything on holiday stays on holiday.
Right.
That's why.
Okay. So you can treat yourself.
You can treat yourself. No one will know.
And then this is where...
We are a treat then. We're a treat. We're
You're
a
a treat. And
We're
this
a
is
treat,
where...
darling.
Right, so this is where you become sexualized and you become a fetish.
We are the secret.
The secret.
Yeah.
And that's
And
an
now
issue.
we've taken
Now it's no
away
more-
that
That secrecy.
secrecy, and now we're so visible that it's like, I have not dated in 2 years. Like, I have not dated exclusively for 2 years.
Because...
Because I can't do it. I've seen through the bullshit now. I can see through talking to a guy and I know exactly what he wants. Like, I can tell.
Where you feel like it's something that they're not actually attracted to you, they're attracted to the idea. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Like, do people message you knowing, and you can feel that, oh, this is somebody trying to have their first kind of experience with a trans woman?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Differently to somebody who's just...
Who wants to get to know me.
Just to get to know you.
Yeah. And it's rare. I'm not going to say there isn't guys that have, like, I'm going on a date this week, which is like the first in a long time. Let's hope it goes well, guys. But he never gave me that, oh, you're this and I'm going to, you know, he took his time to get to know me and stuff. So that's why I'm going on the date with him.
Okay, cute.
But it's rare. It is not a normal, like, I don't talk to guys like that because all the messages I get are, I just want to fuck you. And, oh my, can I swear
It's
on
fine.
this? Oh my God, shit.
Do you know
So I remember last time I got
Let's say
in
them all
trouble.
now. Like you did.
But yeah, it's all just really weird messages. So when a guy, I can tell when a guy wants to actually get to know me, wants to actually see me for me, and doesn't want to see me at night. That's such a key to being a trans woman. Like, trans girls, please, if a man only wants to see you at night, he does not respect you, okay? You deserve to be shown off in the world, all right?
100%.
I love y'all.
Before you became married, before you got married.
I know it is like a rare commodity in our community. To be honest, it's rare. It's not as rare as it used to be, but it is more rare than often that people like myself get married.
What was dating like before then?
Amazing. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, you know, I've always I've always known my strength at a very early age, and I always held men accountable to me, and I've never had a problem dating. But obviously I've still dealt with society and just like certain people feeling insecure. But I'm a keeper, so I've only been in like 3 relationships, so I don't have that much experience.
She only does long-term
Yeah, I'm like a
relationships.
long-term girl.
Okay.
And I've learned from my mistakes. So my next partner is gonna. I'm gonna.
Am I getting a theme here?
I'm kidding. I am just.
I'm really thinking of another show.
I am just kidding. No, I'm only
Very
joking.
hinting something.
I know, right?
I'm
I need a
joking.
therapist. I'm taking it back. Is this on? I can't hear myself.
You lot are
though.
cracking me up. Diana, what's dating been like for you?
Long pause. I would say same. I haven't actually dated for 2 years just because I wanted alone time. I want to like take time to love me.
Yeah. Okay.
Miss Diana, Donna. And I feel like it's funny because when you have that time to kind of fully empower to yourself, guys just automatically come and start messaging you. So dating with me, I feel like I can wait. I feel like I need to like give myself a little bit more time, and whatever happens, happens. I don't chase no man. That's it. Period.
I'm going to ask a question. In fact, I'm just going to go with it. All 3 of you are very beautiful women.
Thank you, doctor.
No, you
Speak
are.
for yourself. I'm natural.
Just Botox and a boob job.
Do you feel that's helped in your journey compared to?
This is a very good question. Well done for this. Pretty privilege is
Pretty
real.
privilege. And I did. Right, that was what
I know
didn't
you.
want
I
to
know
say
you want to
it.
say it, but it's true. Okay, I know collectively we have not had it as bad. Like I know we haven't because all of us are beautiful. Like you are gorge.
So do
You are just
Everything
an
else.
icon.
Another
So let's not just go,
situation.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Like, goodbye. You know that I didn't mean that. Don't do that. But yeah, privilege is real. Also, skin. The color of your skin is a privilege. Like I'm lighter skinned in some aspects, and I get more jobs than a black woman. So I know that privilege as well. But I have to know my privilege. I have to accept my privilege. I have to also utilize my privilege in a way that is positive.
Right, and that's a really
You
important
see?
thing, I think.
Because a lot of trans women, maybe they don't look so passable and they can't go through life as easy. And
Or not anybody wants to as well. Because
yeah,
we
and
really need
that's
to
another thing.
understand one
Yeah.
thing. The standard
Exactly.
of beauty for trans women is
changing.
so high.
yeah,
Right.
it's the hyper feminine version of a woman.
Right.
if
which
we,
is so toxic.
yeah, which is in a way where it could be a case where I know friends who celebrate me and love me in every type of way, but at the same time, I can be sitting on the table with them on the street. Another trans girl might walk past, and my friend would say to me, "Oh, that's just a man in a wig. You're different, but that's a man in a
I
wig."
get that too.
And I think that's very toxic because the standard for trans women is so high.
That's more than toxic.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like
We have to look a certain
that's
way to
from
be
gay
accepted,
men
and that's
as well.
yeah,
saying
and that's
those
another thing.
comments.
What is it about our community where we feel that we've got to be the like trophy version of that of like gay or trans for us to have our badge? Do you get what I mean?
Because society has pushed this image out of what a man should be or a woman should be, and we have people like, even though I love them, the Kardashians and the Jenners, and then you have like, I don't know what, Black China or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have these women, and they're just, it's an exaggeration of what a woman is, you know, and it's like average women don't look like that, and like. Even for me, I've struggled a long time to just accept like the little things that are so different. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I wear makeup all the time. I mean, not when I'm at home, obviously not. But like I won't leave the house without makeup on.
But why? Would you answer that
Because
question?
of this.
Yeah.
The world.
Are you going to
that's-
be respected?
You see,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what has happened. Like I have this thing, and everyone says, "Oh my God, Lili, you have such good skin," but it's in my head now. It's embedded, and that's toxic. So can you just imagine like
For
another
trans or even for women.
but even
Yeah.
for women is exactly like I get comments from women going, "You always look so glam." And honestly, to me, this is not glam. So I'm like, babe, you haven't even seen me out. You think this is done? And that's so weird to me. So when they say that, it's almost like, do I tone it down?
No, just
But then I'm like, no, I'm not going to
do
tone it
you?
down. This is my natural beat.
this is my last movie. Brandy, what are you thinking? What are you saying?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
No, we're just talking about pretty privilege.
Oh,
maybe,
right. Yes,
and-
yes. Well, obviously there is a lot of privilege in being beautiful, and I think that there is a high expectation to uphold with trans women, and that in itself is a bit challenging at times. But no, I think that it's important to beyond us just being beautiful, to really love and appreciate those that may not be deemed in society to be
As
beautiful, because
beautiful.
I've changed my whole definition of beauty through just living and appreciating other people's individuality. Beautiful is not what's in the exterior. It's when you hear that as a kid, it doesn't really make sense until I think now I'm young, but you know, I've learned a few things along the way, and I think now it just makes so much more sense. Like, instead of going and reaching out to someone who's beautiful and you being mesmerized by their beauty, why don't you go out there and really just start treating people as people and appreciating those that may not be as beautiful as you as society, and really just kind of reaching out to them and trying to offer them support and love and appreciation and recognition, because those are the people that really need the support, you know. And it's like, we're going to continue being beautiful, so let's really see how we can make others feel good about themselves, and really, because I think that the change begins here with us. With that being said, I think that like the LGBTQ plus community is going to be the community to create change. You know, we have been oppressed for so long. We're used to battling and fighting, and this is the only community that has every single walk of life, every single background, every single thing that you can imagine that is a part of us. And I think that it's up to us. We are going to be the ones to solve all of these political issues that we're dealing with now, which is why we need to really just bound together and start uniting and really start fighting these things, because and using your platform for whatever it is that you need to, and really just, you know, doing what we need to do, because the time is now. I think that we all know that now, and nothing's ever going to be the same. We're only moving forward and upward, and yeah, pretty much.
Applause, amazing.
I want to do some statistics.
And that's why she's an icon, y'all.
transgender people have a life expectancy or average life expectancy of 30 to 35 years old. So I'm 33.
Especially in black trans women.
Especially black trans women. That's the life expectancy of what somebody used to have back in the medieval times. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's going wrong and what can we do within our community and outside the community to change that? Because nobody shouldn't have a life expectancy in 2021 in the Western world, especially of 30 to 35 years old. That just seems crazy to me.
There's so many reasons. I'm sure everybody knows most of it, but it's all down to first thing, like medication. Self-medication is dangerous, one thing. You get killed on a daily. And depression, mental health is a real thing. And I wanted to really bring awareness in terms of mental health. Suicidal is one of the biggest things. And then a lot of it comes down to hate. People who don't understand us, people who... the whole violence come from misunderstood. So, I mean, from now on, hopefully that's what we're trying to do is... Educate and make it normal. And when we do have that, like, this issue won't really happen anymore. Like, mental health, suicidal or being dangerous on the street, or, you know, people who self-medicate and not going for the proper way, you know? But now I feel like, if anything, it's the next movement, like how you said. It's going to be better, but we need to, let's be strong, let's come out, let's talk. So that's how I feel.
Girls?
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, everything you said, basically, and also, like, you know, the data, how we were collecting it, when we were collecting it, like, where are these numbers coming from? I mean, you know, transgender women have been around for a long time, but we weren't necessarily acknowledged as women. There were all these studies. Obviously, HIV wiped out a lot of our community, and just, like, violence against
That's
trans
another
women.
thing we forget about as well.
The
The
all
AIDS
the icons that we
epidemic
lost, the AIDS epidemic.
killed out so many transgender women because they didn't even give it.
Icons, actual icons.
Like, they were the ones that really didn't give a damn about, did they?
This is another important point I want to make about as well, is that we need to highlight more the older transgender community that are still existing, that are dying off, that we have not heard. Sometimes I think that this is so new that we get sexualized and people get mesmerized by us, and we're only picking and choosing certain transgender influencers, and we're not really caring about the people that really were here before us that made this possible. That actually fought the fight, and we need to, like, people like you know, Marsha P. Johnson, that we're just now getting the recognition, who was actually killed and murdered, and her killer was never even captured. And then Sylvia Rivera, who died a homeless woman, and now we're celebrating these two icons that are now dead, that died in the most horrific way.
Yeah.
And what are we really doing about it? And how are we helping their sisters that were there fighting the fight with them? Like, how, and, you know, the La Veneno and so many other icons that we're now celebrating. Some are still existing, but we're just I feel like the society and these world leaders and corporations feel like there can only be a certain amount of trans public figures and this and that amount. No, there shouldn't be one of anything now. There shouldn't be a breakthrough Miss USA that is now going to be a contestant now. There should be several of us. There shouldn't be one breakthrough producer, one breakthrough actress or model. No, it's like we need to highlight all of these lives. We need to give all of us the same opportunities, because we're slowly dying off, and we want our flowers now while we're alive, not when we're dead.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Speak on it. I felt that. Just take a moment. Let me just have a sip
I'm
of
mad.
my drink.
I'm sorry. I am mad because it's like, it's been too long, too far. It's like, you try to be happy, but it's really disheartening and upsetting to know that people like myself are going through. And it's like, enough of it's enough. Like, you know, we want to live. Like I said earlier, we don't. Yeah, exactly. We want to follow our dreams. My dream is not to be an activist. My dream was to be so much more. And then that is the utmost respect to activism. But there are things that I would have wished I would have been able to accomplish. But, you know, I mean, I never give up. But you know what I'm saying? Like, my biological clock is ticking, and I'm not talking about babies, honey. I'm not as young as I look. You know, don't zoom in. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, there's so many of us, and it's just like, we want to be heard. We want to be understood. And I think that, you know, girls, don't ever give up. This is your world, and, you know, Hey.
We won't.
Okay.
What's the importance of having good access to mental health support as trans people? Because I feel like everybody should have a therapist, yeah? But when you're fighting the battle, the daily battles and struggles and ignorance that you have to go through,
It'll bring you down, yeah. It will make you feel...
it
Yeah,
must
of
surely
course.
bring you
Of
down.
course.
And I think a huge part of that number, obviously, is to do with...
Expectation and...
Yeah, take aside, like, not having medication, like, just not having an outlet to express yourself at your rawest from a young age upwards must really take a toll on your mental health. And do you feel like right now in the UK, you've got good access to good medical and mental health care?
I think now, yes, definitely. But in school, we didn't have that option. You know, now they do, which is great because that's what we want change to happen. I will never feel bad, you know. But my mum's a therapist as well. And growing up with that was enough. So
I was going to actually...
Lucky you.
I was actually going to speak about, like, is it important that your parents support your journey from the beginning?
100%.
Because I feel like as a gay man,
yeah.
I just don't feel that people should have children if you're going to put expectations or ideas of what you want them to be instead of just letting them be.
So, coming from my mom's experience with me, I was like the golden child growing up. And yes, she accepted me and everything. But I think when I transitioned, it was actually hard for her, which I was really shocked about.
Okay.
Because she felt like she was losing that child that was so like I was like her right hand. Like we were like we're basically exactly the same now, but I think it's an adjustment for parents, and I don't think even for me, I didn't take it into account. I didn't think about her, how she felt, you know, because they essentially are losing a child. Yes, they're gaining another child, but they are losing that child that they've grown to love and they've nurtured and they've looked after. And I think for me, after like growing through it and learning to love myself, and I've learned so much from like not dating and all that stuff, to learning to love myself, and then really, you know, looking at like, oh, okay, and accepting just even old pictures of me when I was younger. I would never put pictures up like that of me now, and I just have them all over my room in my house. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like once you love yourself and you're like, and you get it, and it just makes sense, you know? It's really weird. But I went through a phase where I just hated every picture and every old version of me. I never wanted to see it. I was embarrassed by it. I was ashamed. You shouldn't be ashamed of it.
I think self-love, though, is something that happens for everybody anyway.
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
When you to reach 25, Lord, that is like the toughest time of your life, honestly. That's when you start to like who your real friends are, what's going on, who you start to realize like your parents were actually your rock the whole time. You neglected that relationship.
What's your relationship like with your parents now? You were saying earlier that
no, lovely.
Lovely,
like,
yeah.
I love my mom. My mom loves me. I love my dad. Everyone. I feel like what was the difference again was it's not that they don't like who I'm going to become.
Yeah.
It's
just
more
the
like
journey along.
the journey along of them accepting or learning, or even my dad spent 3 years to using the right pronouns to speak to me. So my stepdad, I mean, yeah, but just even as a stepdad, for him to do so much, like, you know, to accept me, or learning to accept me. So yeah.
Brandy?
Well, basically, You know, like a lot of us, my parents were very religious growing up, very homophobic, very transphobic. Well, transphobic wasn't even an idea. You know, never accepted me. I mean, I had 3 older siblings, like, you know, a life of being bullied like many, and you never really being seen as anything else but like a freak. So it was really hard growing up because, you know, you constantly have people telling you that you're not good enough, but you know that there's something special about you. You're like a dancer. You're very in touch with like your fashion, and just a bright light that's continually trying to be dimmed down, you know. And so there came a point when I realized as a young adult that, you know, it was either sink or swim, and I realized that I needed to find who I was and continue my journey without my family, because my family would never support me, would never understand. And for me, I was done living a life that was not for me. I wanted to find myself. I wanted to move forward, and I knew that if I didn't, that I would not be around very long, you know, because it was kind of one of those things where I hated who I was spiraling out of control, and I wanted more. I know that that's not how it was supposed to be, and I never really saw myself in the future. And so that's when I was like, you know what, like, I really need to follow my heart and who I always wanted, what I always wanted to do. So I made the decision to start transitioning, and like I said, back then it was a different world, it was a different time, and I took it upon myself to, you know, start their journey. I got on hormones, and I for that point I thought that my relationship with my family was done. That finally turned my back on them, you know, because I moved on, and I was always close to my sister, and my sister 6 months later, my family was wondering what happened to me, why I haven't been around, why I haven't came around, and I told them, like, well, my sister told them, like, you know, she's actually a she, and she's transitioning, and she doesn't want anything to do with you guys, because you guys have like hurt her whole life, you know, like. And that's when it, like, my mom was like kind of freaking out and was like, you know, have her come, let's talk about this, you know, family meeting, you know, this is serious. It was no longer of me just being like a rebellious, you know, gay guy. It was more of me, like, you know, making life changes. And so they called the family meeting, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to this family meeting. 6 months into my transition, looking crazy as hell, full on makeup, lashes, wig, honey, wearing like 6-inch heels for no reason. That's who I thought I was. That's what I identified as. I was like, this is who I am, honey.
We all did this.
At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening, and so, you know, I was like, I'm gonna come, but my name is Brandy, and actually my name was London then. I don't know what I was thinking. It was London then, so it was my drag name. I was London Fierce,
Okay.
and I didn't realize that I would have to, not that I didn't have to identify with a different name, but I didn't realize that I didn't know what I was doing, basically. And so, you know, and so when I showed up, like, you know, we sat down. Everyone was like quiet. I've never seen my family so peaceful or so quiet. And you know, it was like you could hear a pin drop, and like, you know, we just started talking, and I was just going on about how they ruined my life, how I couldn't, how you know, how this is me, and this, that, and the next. And they were like, one of my brothers was like really kind of sad and gutted and emotional, and all of my family just warmed up to me and was like, you know, we're so sorry. We had no idea this is what you were going through. We love you. You're our sister. And my family from that moment forward never misgendered me. Never misgendered me. Never called me out of my name. They were my biggest fans, my biggest support system. And you know what? I never would have discovered that had I not lived my life and for myself. And sometimes you need to, you know, turn your back on those that you love that are toxic and not loving you. You create your own family.
And live for yourself. Like, really do live for yourself. Because the same situation as you, like, my whole life, like, I'm just trying to please my parents. Like, or they would just do certain things because they know who deep down I am. They would take me to cut my hair. Like, okay, it's a bit too long. You have to shave it all off. Go to do a cadet for 3 years because you need to man up. You know, and all my life, just trying to find my way, or
being told to man up when
Yeah.
you're in the middle of transitioning must be
Yeah, and sadly, these moments are the ones that stop people from transitioning
Yeah.
and stop people from, carrying on with their true identity. So who to say how many people, amazing people we've lost because of these expectations that family, religion, government set for us, and the lack of care, the lack of resources that we have. It's just like, no wonder we're fucked. Yeah, we're fucked because this is a constant battle. We're constantly being challenged on who we are, who's not going to be.
Is there an
Fuck that
age?
That was so good.
Is there an age? Obviously, there's a big debate and conversation about obviously to do with like hormone blockers, what age that children should be legally allowed to start taking them. What do you guys think about that? Like, is there an age that you feel like if a young child comes to their parents and says, "I want to transition," that they should be allowed to transition? Like, in an ideal world for the three of you sat here, how would that operate? Like, how would you go about it?
I mean, I think every case is different. We have to also remember that. I think some kids, like, I know all three of us, if we had that opportunity, we would have ran with that. Like, if we had that before we hit puberty and we could get those blockers, we would take it. But I think with a lot of kids, it's also an inner battle, and then maybe they're not sure. But I think you have to be sure, And I think a lot of people also, we've been hearing stories in the media that people do change their minds later on, and then there's irreversible consequences almost, and they can't have kids maybe in the future because they did take that step too young. So it's like I'm on the fence with it because I know if I had that opportunity, I would have taken it. But then I don't know if
at 3. Because you said that as young as 3 years old, you said you wanted to go to the doctors.
Exactly. That's crazy.
That's so young.
I know.
Some kids don't even know the alphabet.
I didn't.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, like, obviously, I don't really have an opinion on it because I can't imagine what state of mind you're going through. So, like you said, it's going to be different for every single person.
Exactly, and I think we need people that actually understand trans kids to then really be able to get to the grips of like, okay, yeah, you actually know that you were born in the wrong. I think that's what needs to happen.
I do, similar. I do feel like there needs to be a process. I think it's inner, like finding your own self as well. I feel like I don't want to put an age, but I would say when you hit teens, that's when you can then make a decision for yourself.
Medically.
Medically. So definitely. But I feel like the whole non-binary situation, it's really helpful in a way. Like it's allowing you to just just live. Like if today you want to wear a skirt, today you want to wear a skirt. If tomorrow you decide to wear trousers, go do that. And I think that's good and healthy for kids to kind of grow up just not having. I would like to say this thing where the whole idea of what a man's supposed to act like is also quite toxic. What is manhood? Yeah, because it makes men feel like they have to dress a certain way, or trans women growing up to feel like I have to do this to not get bullied or to not so on and so forth.
I was thinking about this on my way here about the fact that everyone has feminine and masculine energy, but men have to be masculine and really kind of forget that there's a feminine part of them. So it really does just breathe this air of it becomes so masculine. Yeah, it's like, and they're so like trapped in
100%.
this bubble of being masculine.
I can't cry. If I'm crying, I'm a pussy.
Yeah, it's just
You're
like,
a pussy boy.
Yeah, as anything, it's better to see a man cry.
Yes, and I would like to answer that question as well, because I think it's important that for me, most importantly, I think that it's the parents' responsibility, because when you're gonna to deal with it individually, when you're gonna have a child.
Sorry, can we just shut that door, please?
When you're gonna have a child, it is your responsibility to make sure that you adapt your life and your education the best way that you can, how to for that child, because every child is different, and you need to be ready to take on that responsibility. If you're not ready to take on the responsibility, then don't even have children.
Right? And this is what I was trying to say earlier.
Then you fall into the trap of what society deems as okay, and things are changing. And I think that it's important which is why it's important that we take the time to learn about everyone's culture, everyone's identity, everyone's gender, everyone's like race, because that way we can have a wide education on what the world really is about, because we are all one. We need to really start taking the time to learn about everyone's story, everyone's culture, everyone's background, because that way we can just have more resources and more education on how to deal with just everyday life. And we need to use more critical thinking and less judgment. It's like, what would Jesus do without calling it Jesus? Because I'm not religious myself, but just really just taking the time to think crucially, critically, because it's just ridiculous sometimes. And if you're not going to have a kid and love that kid unconditionally and be ready to learn, then don't have a child, because it's like, why?
And I think it's so important, like, for people who are able to have children to understand, like, do not just have kids for them to be some type of like trophy, an accessory. Like, you got to understand that every child that gets brought into this world is going to have its own personality, its own journey, its own character, and you've got to, you need to let that blossom and flourish.
And they might have different versions of themselves growing up.
Like completely.
I've had like 3,000 versions of myself growing up, like legit. Like, and I would adapt it from a movie. Like, okay, I'm that bitch now. Like, I would. So I know all kids are the same. We all do it. So just accept your
assimilating to fit into the norm is just.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
It is exhausting.
It really is. How do you feel about assimilating? Because I'm sure you've all had to do it at some point to fit into the workplace as trans women.
Oh. You go.
Because as much as tough as it is being growing up in school, once education's done and then you're thrown into the workplace, I feel like what I've noticed is that a lot of trans women they're forced into like the dark corners of society. Like, do you get what I mean? So you either have to become sex workers, or you end up being.
I don't think sex work is a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it's not.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I just want to put that out there. I don't think sex work is a bad thing, but it's also not the only option.
It's not the only option, but you know what I mean when I say that. Obviously, like in society, like. Having to be a sex worker should be a choice, not because that's the only option that is available for you.
Because we need to understand, we're not just talking about London here as well. We're talking about the world.
Yeah, and that's
like countries that profit, like countries that poor. Like it's the thing. Like in Thailand,
it's the norm.
Or you have to become the entertainment, as in like
Brandy,
you can only work in night. You can only work in. No. And it's like, what's your opinions on all these things? Because I feel like maybe definitely as well 5-10 years ago it was rare to find trans women in like the office, or if they were in the office you would hear a story about do you know what I mean? So how has that changed, and is it important that you do have the ability just to live your lives?
Okay, so I got my first retail job when I was 16, and I worked there till I started transitioning, and this was like 2014 when I started like really like taking it seriously. And the manager was like, you can't come to work as a woman. And I would come to work as a woman. This is so triggering. Actually, it's so sad. Come to work as a girl, change to a boy, work as a boy all day, and then leave, like get changed, and then leave as a woman. because I was not allowed. And then I realized that.
Hold on.
Yeah, I know.
Here
In the UK, so when people say
how long? What?
this is 2014.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it kind of messed me up for a long time because I was told you can't do that. Oh my God, I'm actually gonna. Because it was really sad. It was a sad time, like being told that you can't do that, or no, it's not acceptable. I needed the GP to sign it off to the, like, it was all these things that, and it was and I left that, I remember just coming in on a Saturday and she was, told me to take my lashes off, and I just said, you know what, I'm done. And I had no job to go to after this. I just walked out on that Saturday and I never looked back. And it was the best decision I ever did, honestly, because
you walked out into your strength.
I walked out and I felt so good leaving that place. Oh my God, but yeah, it was really, it was so hard, like coming to work, and all my peers, we still talk now, and they're so, like, they will message me like, I'm so proud of you, like, I'm so glad you left and like you became this person, because they can see the happiness, because I was so sad.
And is this a well-known
Oh
retail?
Yes. Can I say it? We might get sued, actually. No mind. Never. Oh, he loves it. He's like, go on, do it. It was Oasis.
Do they even still exist?
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So it's good with the yummy mummies.
So...
And this is 2014, guys.
This is 2014. So in
this is not their 90s.
So 7 years later, is there now better rights implemented into employment for trans people in the workplace? Because if that's still happening right now, that's not okay. To tell somebody that, surely not, right?
Do you know what? There was an act in 2010 where you weren't allowed to discriminate against someone that was transgender, but I didn't know I didn't know that this was a
About power.
You know, I didn't know. So I'm young. I'm like, young, my ass. But I was young, and I didn't have that information. Like, now it's so easy to get all this information.
And this is why it's so important that from a young age, we're all educated on everything, sexuality and gender. Because we get taught things like Henry VIII and his 6 wives, like, do you get what I mean? And the Egyptians. But like, when it comes to, no, he was the 8th. Who was the 8th Henry, he had 6 wives.
Okay. Come on, Emily.
But when it comes down to like how to actually operate and know what your rights are once you leave school, you don't really get taught that stuff. And I think, like,
I mean, we don't even get taught about taxes. And we need that fucking every day. So they're not going to teach us any of that, the stuff we really need. Do you know what I mean?
To have it in
but we need to,
that should be a history class. That should be in history.
Like,
that should be
our whole queer culture, our whole queer history.
That should be
in the history class.
Exactly.
100%.
Well, talking of work, you're all doing amazing things within the community. And if you're just tuned in and you don't actually know what the hell's going on, because I haven't done a break for a minute, this is Fred's Radio. This is It's a M-A.D Ting. I've been sat on the sofa with Lili, Brandy, and Donna. And they're 3 beautiful women from the trans community. And we've just been unpacking, like, your lives, really, and just the struggles and the positive bits of just going through the journey that they've been on over the last over 10 years, well, their whole lives pretty much. You're now, well, you're a rapper, girl.
Yes, I'm a rapper.
You're making music, and I feel like over the last few years, like, I feel like when you think about performing arts or going like performing arts school, it's full of queer kids or kids that are on a journey within the LGBT community, but then they become mainstream, and then all of a sudden there's no queers. Like, where are all the gays within arts and entertainment? But over the last, yet again, 5 years, I feel like there's been like maybe like a global universal awakening or something, but things have started to shift, and obviously now there's a lot more queer artists out there. As a transgender woman coming into the music industry, like, how are you finding it?
Hard.
Hard, yeah.
Hard, but I'm having fun. But I would say hard in so many sense, even just as a trans woman, that's already a difficult bit. Just as a woman going into the rap industry or music industry, working with producers and having all that.
Homophobic.
Yeah.
And they're transphobic.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's kind of like they they lack it. So, but it's definitely difficult in a sense where you are not respected in the music, like working with producers. I have situation where, let's do a song, waiting for touch-ups. Do you want to come over tonight? Situation like this. It became not related to business and music. Like, I take my stuff seriously, but in the industry itself, it could be very sexualized.
Yeah.
100%.
Men.
Men.
What's wrong with them? Brandy, you work in...
Yes.
You're performing... I see you as a performing artist. I feel like you model...
Yes.
You perform.
Yes.
You do it all, girl.
Yes.
What is your resume? What's on the resume? What are you?
Oh God, what isn't on the resume? I'm actually, I mean, I'm tired, honey. I'm tired.
Is that are you in the industry that you've always wanted to be in then? So
I am, and I'm not exactly where I want to be at this point, especially after doing this for 13 years, but I mean, still being hopeful and just, growing and bettering myself. I think that, the best is yet to come, and I feel it coming. I feel it. It's like right there. I'm just like, just trying to be consistent and continuing to work. But yeah, I couldn't be more blessed. Obviously I haven't been working like many of us throughout the whole pandemic, and things actually kind of started off like fast for me. So just taking every single job that I can take, 2-3 jobs at a day, and that's fine, because I've had plenty of time to rest. And for me, there's no time to waste. This has been my story time after time. It's like I'm almost there, and then I do something to sabotage myself. This time it wasn't my fault. Okay. But now I'm a lot older, so I'm like, now I'm mad. Okay. So, but you know what? Like I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed for like these, since I've moved to London permanently in the last 5 years. It's just been like, just a journey, and to have to start over and establish myself once again. And now I'm just in such a good position. I'm blessed. I think that everything I've been working towards for all these years is finally paying off, and people are supporting me and seeing me and seeing how can I say, like how important I am to just the community. And I think also it's also important for us to love ourselves and give ourselves a credit and tap ourselves in the back and give ourselves recognition, because a lot of times we don't get that recognition. And I've come to appreciate myself and know that I'm a bad bitch and know that I'm going to get what I deserve because I work hard. I love myself. I love others. I treat others with respect. And I think I'm finally getting that positive energy. So it's just, being humble, working hard, being honest, being responsible, and just really kind of just learning. And at this point, I'm just, you can tell how much experience I have because of what a bad bitch I am. And it's taken time, but I'm here. So, I'm here, baby. And
all three of you, I feel, aside from what you're doing day to day in your lives, should be doing a lot more public speaking, because you've got a lot to say, and I've learned so much sat on this sofa today, like with you guys, and like, do you, I mean, like,
and
I'm
I think
just,
we want to. We just want the opportunity. So thank you for this
opportunity.
Thank you for
this.
100%. Like, I just, you need to be heard more. And I don't, like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to support that along the way. But like, I definitely feel like this show, I really do hope that young kids who are going through the transition period, like, listen to what you guys have said, because you've got experience and you know what you're talking about, and like, you're talking from a place of like passion, love, and wisdom. Lili, you just have been all over the magazines, girl.
What? No, that's a lie.
Because you've been,
Don't lie like that.
you've been showcasing and modeling for swimwear that's been specially designed for
trans women.
Yes. So talk to me.
I designed it.
Did you design
I don't
it?
think people know this actually, that I actually designed the garment. Like
But so hold on, why is this not? Why
yeah,
is
so I think people thought I just put my name on the design, but I didn't. I did all the prototypes for it. Like I was at every.
So you're a designer.
Yeah, I'm a designer. I did the whole thing. I start from the beginning to the end. I was in every fitting for that. So it just fit right. I have so many prototypes in my house. But yeah, me and Albert really just worked on that consistently for months until March.
And it's got an amazing response, right?
Yeah, it did really well.
Have you got a lot of
Vanity Fair Italia.
That's what I'm saying. Like Vanity Fair. Has it got like a big pickup from the trans community? Like,
I don't actually know. I need to actually ask Albert about stats and stuff. But she did say there's orders coming in, so I'm assuming there is. But it's not here. It's more all over the world, which I think is incredible because that's what you really want. You want everyone around the world to really take note. Do you know what I mean?
And it to be accessible to all those people at the same time.
Exactly.
When's your next single out, Diana?
Hoping August and another one in September, hopefully. But yeah.
And are you enjoying the process?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love the whole process.
If you do not know who Diana was supposed to sing, we've had a few technical difficulties. So what's going to happen is Diana's going to come back for another show and you're going to get the showcase then. But if you do not know who Diana is right now, you need to head over to @DianaDonna on Instagram and just check out like...
Links is in the bio.
The links are in the bio. Because she's like, that music video that you've done with Cassandra is just, I watched it over and I'm just like, you're so fit. And I'm just like, the tune's a banger.
Thank you.
Yeah, like, I'm excited for what's coming next.
Yes. No, it's just going to be dance music again. I love my dance. I love performing. I love dancing. I'm new to this, but...
I was about to say, I feel like you've been doing it your
I'm
whole
very
life.
no. In my head, I have. I just finally take a step to actually do what I want to do and not be shy about it. I want to be vocal about it. I'm proud being trans. I wanted to be at the front and just show people what we're capable of doing, you know, and like not not stop ourselves just because who we are and more. Yes.
Everything and more.
Yeah.
We need to tie up soon. But before we do, first of all, I want you to do, if you could, you know, at the end of like Drag Race, it's like, if you could say something to your 5-year-old self, what would you say? What message would you give your 5-year-old self? Starting with you, Lili.
I would say, hang in there, bitch. You're gonna look like Nicole Scherzenberger soon. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna look like the Pussycat Doll you always thought. Don't worry, girl. Yeah, I just say hang in there, baby.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like you're gonna be so happy. You're gonna just love yourself, and you're gonna actually love yourself and who you're becoming, and you're gonna grow into someone that you never thought you could. You know, you'll be proud of yourself finally, not be ashamed.
Love that.
God, it got really emotional. Bye.
Brandy.
I mean, basically the same thing. Just hang in there. You're bad. Like, you know, you're loved. You're amazing. Just, you know, ride the wave because the best is yet to come. All of your dreams are going to come true.
Don't be too hard on yourself, baby. Do not be too hard on yourself. Live life.
Live life.
You're going to meet people.
Right, and that's what I wanted one of you to say, because there is a community out there, and even though sometimes you must really feel alone and that you're the only person going through this struggle, there's a whole community out there waiting to accept you and to welcome you in and accept you for that caterpillar that's going to blossom into that butterfly, like Lili said. Like, do you get what I mean? So I feel like today's the end of Pride. or Pride Month officially. But I keep
And what better way to end it,
a
right?
better
Better
way to
way.
end
Ooh,
it. And I
yes.
feel like it has been an interesting Pride this year because of COVID. But I feel like we're very resilient. We're a very resilient community. The queer, LGBT, and trans community, and everything in between. And I feel like we've found a way to kind of really like push through this year and still came together because we have pride in community. And I feel like, yeah, this if you've listened to this show and it's affected you in any type of way, contact these girls and speak to them.
I'll reply.
Where can everybody? Where can you can find you at Lili?
Lili St. Jerry.
St. Jerry.
Yeah, Lili St. Jerry.
Lili
That's
St. Jerry.
LILISTJERRY.
Cute. And then we've got at I am Brandy X.
Yes, I-A-M. Yes, you're right. Oh, sorry, it's been a long week.
We've been sipping prosecco.
Brandy with a Y. Brandy with a
Brandy
Y.
with an I, yeah. And then yeah, again you are
Diana.
Donna.
Diana. You know Diana.
D-
Underscore.
You know who it
Underscore.
As usual, there's so many more questions that I had to you, but we've only got 2 hours, and it goes so quickly. But I've really thoroughly enjoyed today's sitting with you, and you are all welcome to come back at any time. If you've got anything you want to get off your chest,
We love you.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Mark,
for having
honestly.
me.
I hope you've all had a great Pride. I look forward to working with you at some point this summer because I know that we've got a few gigs set up.
We're excited for that.
And as for you two, we're all gonna be.
We'll be around.
So this has been It's a Mad Ting on Fred's Radio. Make some noise for my guest.
Love you, Mikey.
On my next show, which will be in like 2 weeks' time, I'll be joined by social media influencer Lorna Lux and Glow with Ola. This has been It's a Mad Ting. Signing out. Peace.
Well done.